Hello. I'm going to talk about video games and cheating in video games, but not only cheating, but also abuse there. I'm Julien Voisin. This is my website. You can get my bio and contact there. Let's dive in. So, agenda, cheat and abuse. So, cheating, everybody knows. Abuse, maybe less so. So, I want to talk a bit about why I'm bundling these two together for a talk. And then we go to the countermeasures. So, technical countermeasures, because this is a technical conference. Social measures, because I like sociology, and also the exotic one. So, this will be the fun part of the talk. And at the end, there is a conclusion. So, this is Rainbow Six Siege, a competitive multiplayer game. And you can see some odd details there. So you can see on the top, this side, left, the radar, and the blue thingy is the player, and the red one are the opponents. You're not supposed to have this. You can also see like small character drawn in red color with the life bar in green. You're also not supposed to have this. And the big circle you see in the middle around the crosshair is the auto-aim. So if an adversary comes into the circle, the game will automatically shoot at them. So this is what a cheat looks like. And most of us here, I guess, have tried to play some video games, and we met some cheaters. It was not a great experience. And so there's been a lot of talks about like really technical niche points about anti-cheat kind of things, but I want to take a step back and have like a broader picture on how cheats are fought against. Also, security conference. So if you're into computer security, you can think about anti-cheats like antivirus for games or an EDR, something like this. Of course, like antiviruses and EDR, they've got like a lot of anti-cheats. Some are dead, some are new, some are working, some are not. Pick your poison, basically. So toxicity, this is less clear, but you can just go play Counter-Strike or League of Legends, and you will get like vivid examples. I really recommend doing this. There is also an experience done by a community called Women in Game Argentina. And what they did is that they took 3 players, professional player of a game called Valorant, and they put a voice changer filter to them so they sound more female. And the video is, it starts hilarious, and then it just gets sad and devolved into like, ugh. So example of toxicity, I've got a list here. Maybe I'm going to be able to give it in one breath, though. Unwanted abusive communication, insult, threat, racism, sexism, offensive language, flaming, disruptive audio, spam, impersonation, sabotage, friendly fire, blocking teammates, giving away position, griefing, willful disconnection, AFK, and rage quit, and more and more and more. So toxicity is basically anti-sports, like anti-sportsmanship behaviors. So why am I talking about cheats and abuse? Because cheats, they're not hunted down by game makers, usually because they're morally questionable. They're hunted down because they disturb the way the game is meant to be enjoyed. When you buy a video game, you want to play with your friend. You don't want to play with cheaters, for example. And toxic and abusive behaviors, like, I don't know, you play a game, someone is yelling at you for the whole duration of the match, it has the same effect. You don't want to play the game anymore. And people that don't want to play games, the people selling the game won't make money. So in the end, it has the same effect. And interestingly, while cheating can be seen kind of as a technical problem only, abuse is more a social one, meaning it cannot be solved by technical solution alone. You have to have a social component to solve social problems. Technical countermeasures, so it's like EDR, but kind of shadier, which is kind of a feat, I guess. And yeah, so cheating is kind of equivalent to EDR bypass. So you've got countermeasures, technical ones. So cheats used to be more or less free, and nowadays, if you want a proper cheat, you have to pay for it. And so a way to detect cheats, for example, would be to monitor for network connection. And if there is a software on the computer talking to a licensing server for a cheat, you know that someone is using the cheat. So there is like an industrialization of cheating, which I found really interesting. You can also check for files on the file system, like if you got cheat.exe, for example, with a specific checksum, you know someone is cheating. This is just basic. Process name, signatures, like EDR, Windows name, title, icons, Also IDR, pretty basic. You can inspect the memory space of the game to look for like shady DLL that is loaded there or something like this. Also nothing groundbreaking. Specific hardware, this is more interesting. Like, for example, on console, people are supposed to play with gamepads, and usually aiming with a gamepad is more hard than aiming with a mouse. So people are using mouses on consoles, and there are ways to detect this. There is also direct memory access. For example, your GPU or whatnot. The way it works is that it doesn't go usually to all the hoops to access memory read-write, but there's direct access to the memory of your computer, memory space. And so if I happen to have a device that mimics this kind of behavior, I would be able to read like the whole memory space of what is running on my computer and read-write stuff there, and I can just cheat and bypass everything because it will be completely transparent. So fingerprinting hardware is also a technical countermeasures. Phone number, I think, is even more sneaky. Like for some games, if you want to play competitively, you have to have like multi-factor authentication. So maybe a YubiKey or OTP or maybe phone number, like SMS-based identification. And if you code cheating, the game editor will just ban your phone number, so you will have to get a new phone to be able to play competitively with your friend, which I find really sneaky. TPM as well, so the Trusted Platform Module. And the way it works is that the game will be associated with your TPM, and if you code cheating, your whole motherboard will be like banned. And the way to bypass this is to physically remove the TPM of your computer and put a new one there. So there are some people that are buying like whole bags of TPMs, and then they're code cheating, they're putting a new one on the computer, which is also really fascinating. So TLDR, you inspect everything, you exfiltrate on suspicion, like an EDR is doing. Integrity countermeasures, also EDR style. You can check the return address. So for example, if I write a cheat, I want to display something on the screen. And to do this, instead of writing my own primitive to write text on the screen, I can just reuse a draw text on screen function from the game. This is way easier. And some anti-cheats are looking for the call stack of those functions. And if it's pointing somewhere shady, it means that some gadget got injected or there is a cheat making use of those. It's called stack walking, I think, in the EDR world. You can also have chain of pointer. So for your, I don't know, health point or something like this, you go from the player structure and then you go there and there and there. And you can just check if the chain of pointer is not pointing to somewhere shady as well. Memory region, as I said previously, you can just check if a DLL got injected there or things like this, nothing groundbreaking. Microsoft is also investing a lot in hypervisors-based security, HVCI, VBS, blah, 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 this kind of things. You can do this, of course, for cheating, so you run the game in an hypervisor, but you can do the other way around. For an anti-cheat, you can run the game in an hypervisor, so it's kind of tricky to modify things going there. Since cheats are moving into kernel land, we've got more strong primitives and avoid detections. Of course, anti-cheats also going down the kernel. We all know how this ends with the CrowdStrike incident recently. More on this later. I mentioned TPM previously, but TPM in secret boot as well. So I think to play Valorant, you need to have secret boot enabled. And this is a tentative to control the memory space and the environment in which the game is running to prevent people from trivially modifying things there. So it's like, is this a real Windows thingy? Does it boot correctly? Are the drivers signed? Like, really control where the game is running, like on a console, kinda. IOMMU, also to shield memory space from weird interaction, whether it's DMA or maybe other peripheral going around. So hardware-based security. Also something else, obfuscation. Like you've got your average things like junk code that doesn't do anything in the code. You've got bogus control flow. You flatten the control flow. You inline the functions, whatever you want. The screenshot I like very much. It's based on the work of Domas, Mr. Domas, that he gave the presentation at Recon. It's called ReapPsych, and this is the control flow graph of some anti-cheat thingy called Hyperion, open in IDA. And it's just weird, like you've got the Hyperion logo as the control flow graph, which I find really fascinating. And the talk of Domas about ReapPsych was like psychological warfare against reverse engineer. And he even had a demo where it's loading picture of the hard drive and displaying the picture as a control flow graph to like scare reverse engineers away, which I find really fascinating. But so this is used in real life. Anti-debugging, classical stuff, virtual machine detection as well, integrity thingy to prevent modification of the binary, like nothing crazy. Move value on change. This is really nice, I think. So imagine you're playing a game and you've got like health point for your character, and or gold, like you've got 100 gold. And so you run your memory scanner and you scan for the number 100. Then you spend 10 gold and you run your scanner again for 90, and so on and so on. At some point, you will pinpoint where in memory your amount of gold is stored. And the idea of move, value, and change is simply that every time you spend gold, the value will be moved somewhere else in memory, making it harder to pinpoint where it is, which is kind of sneaky. I like this very much. Shellcode streaming. So you're executing your anti-cheat thing and stuff, but you don't need to execute your whole anti-cheat for every player, for example. Maybe if you're suspicious that someone is cheating, what you can do is that you can stream the shellcode from the internet and then execute it. And you can like heavily obfuscate it because you don't care if it's like performance intensive because you don't give it to everyone. And it makes harder to understand what your anti-cheat is doing because the attacker, the cheater, doesn't have the full picture. They have to like keep playing and playing to get more shellcode stream and stream. And because you're doing this from time to time, you can even like stream unique shellcode to make it harder for it to be reversed once and for all. This is really sneaky, and I've seen it used by Red Team, for example. Virtualization, so not virtualization as in running a virtual machine, but virtualization as in you're compiling your code for an abstract CPU that doesn't exist in real life, and it will be emulated by the game itself, and you can even nest this. So to reverse it, one would have to reverse the virtual CPU instruction set and understand what's going on, maybe write a decompiler and everything. Like, this makes things really tedious. There are companies like VM Protect or Orions that are like selling this kind of protection for binaries. It's being used kind of heavily in anti-cheats. This is also a fun part. So anti-cheats, they are software as well. So there is the Genshin Impact game. It's really popular in Asia. And it's also really popular among stalkerwares, among ransomwares, to disable antiviruses because of the anti-cheat driver is running kernel end. And there are some issues there, which I find really funny. Razer has some keyboards and mouse with fancy lights like gamer stuff. And when you hit, for example, it will blink or something like this, I don't know. And what one could do would be to rename their cheat like Razer something.dll, put it somewhere, and maybe sign it kinda, but not really. And in some games, it will be automatically loaded in the memory space of the game. So you don't even have to have your fancy loader or something. Capcom, also funny, quite well known. There is even a Metasploit module for it. There is a screenshot here. So the driver for the Street Fighter anti-cheat had an IOCTL, and you just like use it. And first, it will disable SMAP, run the shellcode you provide, re-enable SMAP, like as a feature. This is amazing. And the last one, ICPF, this is easy anti-cheat, and the way it works is that, oh, you're cheating, so let me allocate some memory, put data there, and I will send it to the server, and so you will get banned. And the way it was bypassed with the name ICBF, the idea is to hook the memory allocation because it's a dynamic resolution of the symbol. Like, it's not, it asks basically, hey, operating system, can you allocate this? So what one can do is just hook this, check for the size of the snitching packet, and says, oh no, I cannot allocate memory. And easy anti-cheat would be like, okay, that's fair, I'm going to continue anyway. So to cheat, you just have to hook this, and the packet will never be sent over the network. Also amazing. I put 3 more dots because there are a lot of other bypasses and privilege escalation. I know at least of one. It's still working, and it has been working for years. So yeah, anti-cheats are software as well. So this was the technical part. Now we are into the social countermeasures. It's like a technical one, but with human instead. the lame one is just to send the legal department. You can use the DMCA, which is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, like copyright violation. You can use the CFAA, which is Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, like you're doing some piracy. And even RICO, which is designed for like the mob or something. It's like the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organization Act. It's been used against mafia, these kind of things. But it also has been used against a cheat provider, which I find worrying, to say the least. I put some examples there. Some lawsuits are still ongoing. The amounts are quite high, like a couple of millions for selling cheats, which is quite impressive. And also in some countries, manufacturing and distribution of cheating or cheat is illegal, and their usage as well. And in some of those countries, you have to provide your state issue ID to play the game. So yeah, be careful if you're cheating there. You can also make it expensive to cheat. Like for playing a game, you have to buy a computer. It's a gaming computer with neons and lights and blink and stuff. Quite expensive. And also, modern games are also super expensive. Like if you want to play the latest Call of Duty, something, Modern Warfare 4000, it's $70. Or the latest Diablo, it's also $70. But if you want the ultimate gold, platinum, blah, blah, something edition, it's like $100. That's a lot. And every time you code cheating, you have to buy it again and again. You can also make it expensive to cheat by using DLC. So for example, maybe you've got a free-to-play game, and you've got skins, and I don't know, armor, and you want to look like your very best to brag in front of your friends. You can pay to get cosmetics and these kind of things, and every time you banned, you have to pay again. The slide is a bit small, but the latest thingy is $150 for some imaginary token that you can use to buy armors in Diablo. So the money starts to like be significant really fast. You can also make people grind, which I find really funny. So you play casually, but also you can play ranked. So you play with like more serious people, more involved. This is getting like interesting, I think. And you can lock this behind a number of hours played. So you have to reach level 50, and more or less to reach level 50, you need to play 50 hours, which is quite an investment. So if you get banned, you have to start again. But you can also pay people to play for you, like you hand them over your account, they will play for 50 hours, grind, and then they will give it back. Or they can handhold you, like I'm going to play with you and help you win, and so you can also make it to the top. So there is like a parallel economy of selling accounts for games that are already be able to play ranked. And you can also make player grind for useful equipment, like you've got this bad sword at the beginning, and if you want to play like properly with the cool kids, you have to grind to get the proper green sword or something. And the picture here is the number of different like ranking thingy you can get in Rainbow Six. There's quite a lot, and the more there you are, like I don't know, elite or something. The names are really funny. The more prestige you have. And one way I think is interesting to deter cheating is that if you code cheating, you're removed from the leaderboard. Like you cannot say, oh yeah, 2 years ago I was on the top. No, your name will just get removed from the history of the game, which I find fascinating. You can also empower players. So the difficulty of fighting cheaters, you can just delegate this. For example, you can have reporting. So at the end of the game, you can ask the player, hey, did your teammate Bob play really well or not? And if someone says, yes, Bob is playing really, really well, Bob will get more experience point, or he will get the green sword, or this kind of things. And you can also do it the other way around. Like, no, Bob was really a shithead. I didn't like him very much. Nah. And you can also penalize slander, of course. Like, other people are saying Bob played very well, and you're the only one saying that Bob wasn't so great. You're going to get penalized instead. You can also penalize tools that benefit from cheating. So if you tend to play with cheater, you will get penalized as well. So you cannot have like one sacrificial account to like lift you up. And also, the more positive report you get, the more experience points you get, the more green swords kind of things, and the other way around. Like at some point, you can have like, hey, 50 people reported you for abusive chat, you're not going to be able to talk anymore for like 15 hours. Sorry about that. And you can have mute and ignore, like Bob is blasting stupid music over the microphone, I'm just going to mute them. Profanity filter, like the people are like writing insults or this kind of things. They think they are sending it to the whole like lobby of players, but nobody else is seeing them, which I find really nice. So people are just like mashing their keyboard and it just goes to DevNull. You can have peer-based reputation, like, yeah, Bob played very well, Bob didn't play very well. You can group these people together so you have the nice people playing together and the toxic people more like playing in there. Streamer mode as well, because maybe if you are a popular streamer, for example, you don't want random people crashing and making horrible things during your game and broadcast it to the world. So streamer mode is removing like nicknames, randomizing, lobby wait times, kind of things. Private lobby, that's just easy. So you can just have, hey, I want to play with my friends and only the people who know the password for my lobby. So you're sure you're not playing with rando from the internet. And of course, blocking. Like, I didn't like playing with Bob. I don't want to play with Bob anymore. I'm just going to block it. Machine learning, AI, and all the cool buzzwords. This is, I think, a valid application for AI and buzzwords. You can just record the matches, like every game. It's just super cheap. You can use machine learning to pre-filter because you've got a huge data set. Like people are playing Counter-Strike a lot or League of Legends like all day long. And deviation is really easy to spot. And you can have human validate, like human in the loop. Valve gave a talk at the GDC about using deep learning to fight cheating in Counter-Strike Go. I'm not sure it's working very well, but at least like this is something that more and more game and entities companies are trying. I find it really interesting. Also, you can issue challenge when in doubt. Like maybe someone is cheating, let's stream more shellcode to do more invasive checks, these kind of things. And also another use case for AI is voice chat moderation. Like people are using a microphone, and you can just do language recognition there. Like, this sounds like an insult. I'm going to mute you for like 10 minutes. You can do it as well for the chat. So useful application for AI, quite a thing. Bug bounty and FUD. So you can have bug bounty for cheats. I've been told yesterday that Epic Games is paying like decent money for this, which is quite surprising. It will increase the number of eyeballs. Like, hey, if you find some cheating thingy there, we were going to give you some money. And so people are like, interesting, so maybe I should look for this. And it also incentivizes reporting. Like you find some bypass, or maybe you saw someone cheating, you think, this is how they're cheating. Instead of keeping the bug for yourself, or maybe trying to write a cheat and get banned, or I don't know, it's a bit muddy, you can just report it and you will get money for sure, kinda, because bug bounty, but anyway. It provides like incentivization for reporting and looking and finding things instead of using them to write cheats. And what I find also, I'm using the word interesting a lot. What I find interesting is the pricing dynamic for bug bounties. For example, Google has been have a bug bounty for Linux privilege escalation, and the price was pretty low. And then it started to ramp up, and currently it's above a lot of bug or exploit brokers. So you can make more money by selling your Linux exploit to Google, and they will get disclosed in like 90 days, instead of going to CrowdFence or Zerodium. So I think it's really interesting, and maybe at some point, the cheat makers will make more money by writing cheats and then reporting them, and so they can get fixed, but they will get more money than trying to sell them. Because the more people you sell your cheat, the more chances that they will get reported. So you have to keep the volume small, but the smaller the number of people you're selling your cheat to, the higher the price needs to be. So there are interesting pricing dynamics here. I put some numbers there for, I forgot, I think it's Valorant or something. So it's a couple of grand. It's good, it's not that much, but it's still significant. And also, blog posts, yeah, you should really brag about like, oh yeah, we caught this many cheaters, cheaters were coming for you, published a number of reports. And something I found really interesting is that cheat vendors are reacting by this, by publishing videos of them cheating for like 5 hours or something, like, yeah, we're still not caught. And the community manager are saying, yeah, but those are pre-recorded video from 5 years ago. So if you try to cheat again with the current version of the anti-cheat, you will get caught. So there is a PR war kind of fight going on about cheating, which I think says a lot about the industrialization of cheating, the commercialization of cheats, that you can also find the malware world that is already more advanced when you've got like brokers and access brokers and payload and kind of things. And the same dynamic, market dynamic and social thingy organization is also happening for cheating, in my opinion. You can have account level countermeasures as well. I mentioned previously MFA, OTP, these kind of things. Like you want to play ranked, you have to have a phone number, these kind of things. And phone number are expensive to get by, so you cannot like create a new account every day or every 10 minutes, for example. And oh no, I don't want to lose my phone, so maybe I won't cheat. Account level cheater mark, like Steam is really handy. Steam is like a store for game, like an app store, but for games. And you buy your game there, you open Steam, and you can just download the game on your computer, and it works. You go to another computer, log into your account. You can also download the game. It's really nice, really integrated. And you have the cheater mark that is per account, meaning if you caught cheating in Counter-Strike, for example, you will get the mark cheater, and you won't be able to play competitively on Counter-Strike. But also, if you try to play, I don't know, Valorant on Steam or whatever game, the other game can query this mark and say, you cheated in this other game. You won't be able to play ranked in our game as well. And there's occasional cheaters, like you play a lot of games, and then you want to try this new one with your friends, and you see a cheat, and like, maybe I should. No, because if I cheat on my main account, I might get the mark, and then I cannot play my other games as well. You can have also account level, like DLC, cosmetic, achievement, and things. Like if you grinded in, I don't know, whatever game to get this fancy achievement, maybe you don't want to have the cheater account on this thing because it would mean you cannot play your game and blah, blah, blah. So I think it's super cheap to implement, and it really deters like occasional cheaters. Also, I touched on this before, but instead of insta-banning people, like, okay, you cheat, you're going to get banned. But for example, if someone is yelling at me on a Counter-Strike match, maybe they had a bad day, maybe, I don't know, maybe their mother died or something, they shouldn't get banned, I think. So it's interesting to have the gradation of sanction that could happen. And, sorry, instead of also like, you cheat, you banned, you can like delay this a bit and make it harder to understand what kind of behavior was flagged as cheating, for example. And it's also do it the other way around. It incentivizes and reward positive behavior, as I touched before. Like if you're behaving as the game developer is expecting you to behave, you will get the green sword. Otherwise, you will get like less experience points, for example. It allows people to correct their conduct. Like, okay, I yelled at someone. It wasn't nice. I had a bad day. I was pissed off. I understand. I'm going to calm down for a couple of hours, and then I'm going back in the game. It's going to be great. And you can have a lot of like tiny sanctions, for example. You can be mute, for example, or you will get less experience points, or maybe you won't be able to use your microphone. There are a lot of things that can happen. I don't mean to say that you should like cuddle everyone that cheats, but like if someone is yelling, maybe don't ban them straight out. Of course, if someone is really cheating, yeah, you should just like kill their account. Another fun part of the talk, like the really weird stuff. Cheating is super fun. Like I would really recommend trying to cheat. So let's make tedious instead. Those measures are mostly coming from Call of Duty, but there are other games also implementing them. Quicksand. This is so annoying, like random input drops. You're moving your mouse, sometimes it not registered as a movement. Or you're trying to move forward, maybe you will move backward. You try to turn left, it's turning right, and it's completely random. It's so annoying. Like you try to click to shoot at someone, some clicks are not registered. This is horrible. Or you can alter movement speed, like suddenly you're moving super slow or super fast. And it's really disorientating. Handicaps. When you shoot at someone, you don't do any damage. This is also infuriating. In some other game, you just get lame loot. Like, oh, you beat this boss, congratulations, you get some charcoal instead of like the green sword. Item drops. I think it's also Call of Duty, where if you're cheating, you just drop your weapon and it disappears. And so you just like, you cannot harm anyone. It's also infuriating. Nonsensical error message. This is not strictly related to cheating, but it's about a game called Garry's Mode. And Garry's Mode had a piracy problem. So people just pirating the game, not paying for it. And at some point on the Steam forum support thingy, people started opening bugs and like, hey, I'm launching the game and I've got this weird error message, unable to shade polygon normals. What does it mean? And after a couple of days, the developer said, oh yeah, it shows up because you're pirating a game, and the error message also contained your account ID, so I just went ahead and banned you. So also super funny. And there was also this in Serious Sam, I think, like you got an invisible enemy that was just chasing you around, and people were complaining like, yeah, maybe you should pay for the game instead. Batman had this as well. At some point, you couldn't get the Batarang or whatever to move forward in the game, and people were complaining like, yes, pay for the game. You can also do the other things the other way around. You can help honest players. Cloaking, so you can make honest players disappear to the cheaters, so they won't find anyone, and they will get shot at, and they won't be able to find who shot them. Damage shield, so if someone is shooting at you and they're cheating, they don't do any damage, or maybe a really reduced amount of damage, which is really annoying. Lame thing is just to group player by reputation. So if you're cheating, you're just going to play with the other cheaters, and you will soon realize it's not a lot of fun. And if we're really sure you're not cheating, you can go with the good guy, and you can just have your fun, and we're 100% sure that nobody's cheating there, kinda. This one I like also. So you've got a battle royale thingy on an island, and you come with a plane, and then you jump, and you've got a parachute, and maybe we just remove the parachute. Or crank up gravity. So when you're sneaking, and maybe you've got like to jump, and then you jump, and the gravity is cranked up, and then you just smash on the ground and you die. Also super funny, and also super cheap to implement, and also super infuriating. Hallucination, this I like very much. So the game server is streaming you information. Like there is a player here, and so you can see, oh yeah, there is a player here, I'm going to shoot the player, whatever. And hallucination is just sending fake information to you and making you think there is a player behind you, for example, but there is no one. But it's still sending you a player there. And if the game notices that you're turning around to shoot the person behind you, they're like, this doesn't sound legit. Or for example, they are cloning player. So if you've got information someone is hiding behind the wall, for example, it will deduplicate at some point. And so the game can see if you're aiming at the wrong one, you know that there was someone behind the wall, and you're aiming in the wrong one. And so it will detect cheating, for example. So the game just generates fake information and send you fake information. And only the game server knows which information are real or not. And it's really hard to like bypass or understand what's going on. There are techniques, but it's kind of shaky. And of course, it doesn't replace proper anti-cheat. Like, it's all fun. It gives times to collect data. It reduces the impact of cheaters. And it's also, this is super hilarious. But you have to have proper anti-cheats. Like, there were a lot of complaints about Call of Duty when the developer were writing such blog posts that I like very much, but people are like, this is great, but I'm still playing with cheaters. Can you fix the problem instead of making fun of them? OK, this is good. Is it working? Like, I've been talking for like 30 minutes. It's complicated. This is the data I got from the bans rates for Rainbow Six. There is a gap because they didn't stop publishing the data at some point. But I don't know. It's really hard to read this graph, I think, in my opinion. Like, there are some ups, down. I don't know. This is like League of Legends, and you can have the rates of ban in yellow. And on the blue line, it's the percentage of chance you have to play with a cheater-ish. At some point, it reached 15%, which is quite high. And there is no really correlation between the ban rates and your chance of playing with someone who is cheating. So, yeah. Also, the number of bans for League of Legends is also complicated. There are some spikes, there are some downs. Is it working? Is it not working? And the developer of League of Legends said, from this graph, we can tell it's not working. We need to change. So they moved to another anti-cheat thingy in red. And here you can clearly see it's working. But there are not many graphs that are like this. Most of them are like up and down. So another metric that I like very much, the warning to penalty. So among the people that get the first warning, like, hey, don't behave like this, don't do this, only like 50% got a second warning, meaning half of the people who get the first one are like, okay, I'm going to behave now. And if you go even further and get a sanction, it's 25%, kinda. This is for chat abuse, voice chat abuse, these kind of things. So I think this is a really good metric because you want to get rid of cheaters. Like, your goal is not to ban people, it's to prevent people from cheating in your game. Also in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, they introduce a new detection mechanism for people who are playing with a mouse instead of playing with a gamepad and console. And the numbers are similar. Like, it's 50%. Like, please use a proper hardware or gamepad to play. Okay. Also, another warning, also Call of Duty. 3/4 of the cheaters that were detected were caught before playing a single match. I think this is really impressive and a really good metric to aim for. And the 25 remaining % of the cheaters were caught within 5 matches. So they didn't have a lot of time to pollute the game. Which I think this is the metrics that matters instead of having the graphs of the number of bans. Yeah, I've been rambling for quite some time. So what's the point? So some reflection on the future. I think feedback and guidance go a long way. Like, some people might have a bad day, maybe like just a warning. Of course, if you're cheating, you just get insta-ban. But hand-holding really helps, as I've been saying like before. Technical means alone are not the answer. These are some social issues. You have to fix them by social means. It works in a lot of domains, not only game cheating. Of course, this will continue. It's like EDR and red team, these kind of things. The escalation will pursue. Private cheats will keep on working, like private exploit and private, I don't know, bugs and kind of things. At least my cheats have been working for a couple of years now, so let's hope it keeps going. Measuring success is hard. Like, publishing number of bans might scare some cheaters, but I think communicating on, like, we caught most of the cheaters before they played even a single match. It's like, wow, this is really scary. And the rest has been caught within 5 matches. Wow, so I won't have like the time to have fun with my cheat that I paid like $100 plus my computer plus. So I think this is a really good deterrent. Direct memory access and other things is the current battle. I think to have like dedicated hardware plugged into the computer and able to like read and write memory, for example. As in everywhere else, every single other domain, AI is making things worse. Like, you can have a camera pointed at your screen that is doing some image recognition, and then having some kind of projector or overlay that is displaying more information without even touching the game's memory, for example. There are a lot of ways to cheat using AI like this. And I think it's really interesting. And once DMA is addressed-ish, kinda, maybe AI will be the next step, and maybe it can be mitigated by more AI. Yay, exciting times ahead. And cheating will always be funnier. I would recommend not cheating, but looking at it and maybe try to write your own and stay with, like, cheat with your friends kind of things. Of course, don't cheat in competitive games. But it's a lot of fun. I would really recommend it. And if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I'm right on time. 1 minute left. Yes.